Hello my dear viewers, the students of Vedic Astrology. This is your Vedic Astrology coach Rarat Kapoor and welcome to my channel The Legit Astrologer. In my channel I make videos on Vedic Astrology and most importantly the transits that are upcoming. I try to keep the concepts very simple. In the recent times I have started a series of video about Jupiter's transit in the sign of Taurus. These videos are available on my channel. You can watch them at your own convenience. In case you're new to my channel, please subscribe, hit the bell icon, share this video with your friends and spread the awareness. In case you wish to book a personalized consultation with me, you can check out the link to my website in the comment section and the process of reaching out to me. As we all know, Jupiter has entered the sign of Taurus. This video is about another planet entering the sign of Taurus. This is Venus or Shukra. Shukra is moving out of the sign of Aries and about to enter the sign of Taurus, which is its own sign. It is the home of Venus. That means it is going to be in the most comfortable space. We feel most protective, most comfortable, most relaxed when we are at home. And in my opinion, any planet when it transits in its home sign or if it is placed in its home sign in a natal chart gains special power because it very easily delivers good results if it is involved in good yogas, connections, and if it has a good lordship of the chart. Venus is making this transit in the sign of Taurus on 19th of May and this is going to last till 12th of June. During this transit, Venus is going to come in contact with Jupiter. Venus and Jupiter are forming a yoga. It is a beautiful yoga. It will only happen once this year, and Venus and Sun are also forming a conjunction or a yoga. There will also be a 3 planetary conjunction or yoga which will happen between Venus, Jupiter and Sun. Now whenever there is a 3 planetary conjunction yoga, the basic principle of Vedic astrology is whichever graha has power or a good dignity has an advantage in that conjunction. Now Sun is an exception there because the grahas that come in close contact with Sun, it leads to combustion, or in real terms it is called a graha asta situation. That means it loses its signification, it loses its strength. It is the curse of the king or curse of the government or the authority, which would mean that we will have to work out extra efforts in order to improve the significations. Now Venus is also going through combustion during this transit on 29th of April, and Venus is going to be combust this year for about 2 months. For 61 days till 28th of June, Venus is going to be combust. Now this is the usual time, couple of months Venus is usually combust every year. Venus is very used to the energy or the light of the sun or the heat of the sun, the power of the sun, because Venus and Mercury are these 2 grahas not more than 2 or 3 houses apart from the sun in most charts. Now during the state of combustion, it would mean that Venus is not going to be visible in the night sky because Sun's energy is blocking the energy of Venus. Therefore, during those 2 months, we will have to put a lot of efforts in order to focus on significations related to Venus. I'm going to make a separate video on that. But this video is about Venus's transit in Taurus. There's going to be 3 planetary conjunction, and in this conjunction, Venus holds special signification because it is its own sign. It's its home. Let's understand some important dates. On 16th of May, Venus will transit Kritika Nakshatra and will stay in Kritika Nakshatra till 27th of May. This nakshatra is ruled by Sun or Surya itself. During this time, wherever the sign of Aries falls in your chart, where Sun gets exalted, is likely to demonstrate positive results. On 27th of May, Venus will enter Rohini Nakshatra, which is ruled by Moon or Chandrama, and Venus will remain in this nakshatra till 7th of June. During this time, the sign of Taurus is going to demonstrate positive results. So between 27th of May till 7th of June, there are high energies as far as the sign of Taurus is concerned. So we need to watch this space for it. So we need to focus a lot in significations of wherever the sign of Taurus falls in your chart is going to be pretty much active in order to deliver positive results during this time. Let's understand Venus or Shukra. Venus is the planet of interaction. Before talking about or mentioning it as the planet of love, abundance, harmony, extravagance, luxuries, perfumes, cars, Venus is all about interaction, because if we talk about relationship, love, harmony, abundance, anything that we do in this physical world, it needs interaction between 2 people, between animals, between plants, between all the living things in this world and the beings. So this is the interaction that Venus governs or rules. It is most important because this is how we come in contact with the other person. This is how we learn from others. This is how we share our information or become more self-expressing. Venus plays a very important role in our overall self-awareness, in our education. All the mundane knowledge, which is very practical in nature, is ruled, is governed by Venus. Venus is the Daitya Guru. It is the Guru of demons. So it rules all the modern day knowledge and all the kinds of sciences, the age that we live in, things that are very much practical in nature, things that could be applied at the workplace. This is something which Venus governs. The sign of Taurus is the natural second sign of the zodiac belt. The basic term for the second house of the Kalpurusha Kundli is storage. This is where we store everything and we share with our loved ones. This is the house of consumption. We store our wealth, we accumulate that, we store our food, the things that we like to do, and we share that with our family. Therefore, this house becomes the house of family. This is where we see family from. This is also the house of speech from a body matter is concerned. So our speech is seen from the second house. This house plays a very important role in wealth, and the second lord is one of the most important planets as far as wealth related matters are concerned. The kind of wealth that you will make is very much dependent on the second lord and the kind of connections it is making. Taurus as a sign is earth element, so it is a very much materialistic sign. It is the natural sign of dhana, it is the natural sign of wealth. Therefore, Venus is in great dignity during this transit. It is the natural second house lord and the seventh house lord that is making a transit in the second house of the zodiac belt. From a relationship perspective, from wealth perspective, it is quite a positive transit. Besides the fact that Venus will be in a state of combustion, which would require us to put a lot more efforts. But saving grace during this time is the Venus is in the sign of Taurus, so it is getting certain protection. It is still getting some good strength during this time. Let's now talk about how this transit is going to have an impact on all 12 ascendant signs. And from a physical perspective, we must read this transit from the ascendant sign. You can understand this transit at a mental level from your moon sign as well, but from a results perspective, predictions, please use it from the ascendant sign. Who is likely to have an impact of this transit? I always say that it is the dasha that is the primary deciding factor of what your life path or purpose would be during that time. Transits always play a supportive role. So in case you're running through a dasha, antardasha, pratantardasha of Venus or Jupiter or Sun, because these are the planets Venus will come in contact with, or even if Moon plays a role in your dasha, antardasha, because Moon also co-lords the sign of Taurus, and Venus is going to go through the nakshatra of Moon as well. If you have prominent planets in the sign of Taurus or in the sign of Scorpio, because Venus will be aspecting the sign of Scorpio by its seventh aspect of desire. It desires change, it desires transformation, it desires you to learn hidden subject or do a lot of research in order to gain knowledge, in order to gain awareness in terms of what's happening in this world. These are some of the situations how you're likely to be impacted by this transit. Let us start with Aries ascendants and see what's happening with Aries ascendants as far as Venus's transit in the sign of Taurus is concerned. Now this is your second house lord and the seventh house lord, which is making a transit in the second house. Venus for you rules the house of storage, which is the second house, the house of consumption, your family or the kutumb bhava. Your speech is seen from this house, your wealth is seen from this house. Therefore, Venus plays an important role. Venus also governs seventh house, which is called Jaya Bhava. It rules war and it also rules peace. It rules people who are opposite to you. Therefore, we see relationship from this house. We see spouse from this house. We see all those people who are opposite to you or from a different part of the world from the seventh house. Seventh house plays an important role in terms of making a movement outside of your country as well, because it is opposite to yourself. spouse is definitely seen from the 7th house. Now this is the 2nd house lord, 7th house lord making a transit in the 2nd house itself, which means that Venus during this transit is in its own sign. It is gaining strength during this transit. Venus rules the sign of Taurus. It is making a transit there itself. So this is an optimum time for you to create a secondary source of income. Also, this could be a potentially favorable time for you in order to have some sort of gains as far as your partner's wealth or partner support is concerned, as far as wealth creating opportunities. One thing is that throughout this transit, Venus is in a state of combustion, but it is in the sign of Taurus, so it is certainly gaining some strength here. Okay, so from 19th of May till about the end of May itself, you are likely to have some sort of positive results as far as significations of this transit is concerned. You will have a poise in your 2nd house. Your 2nd house is pretty much active because there are 3 planetary energies there. There's Jupiter, which is the significator of this house. There is Venus, which is the owner of this house, and they both are forming a beautiful Dhana Yoga. Your 9th lord and 2nd lord are making a transit together in your 2nd house along with the 5th lord. So 2 of these planets are quite positive for you. So it is time for you to improve significations related to Venus as far as your chart is concerned. This Venus will be aspecting your 8th house by its 7th aspect of desire. Venus desires transformation, change. It desires you to learn deep secrets, hidden sciences. Excellent time to learn Jyotish, to pick up something which is similar, or those areas where you have to put some sort of research. This could be a potentially favorable time for you. Overall, I consider this as a positive transit, particularly if you were to create a secondary source of income. Any remedy that will be there for you would be seen by either Sun or Jupiter. You can offer water to the Sun first thing in the morning. You can use mantras related to Jupiter to support and elevate qualities of the 2nd house and to support wealth creating opportunities during this time. This is one time of the year where you could maximize as far as opportunities for income and wealth is concerned, and also make sure that you spend extra time with your family. I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Taurus ascendants. For Taurus ascendants, Venus is an important planet because it's your Lagna lord, it's your ascendant lord. It rules your 1st house, which is lord of self. It rules who you are, your overall personality, your body, vitality, immunity. We also see intelligence from the 1st house, and this lord plays a very important role for any individual. Venus also rules your 6th house of daily routines, of deaths and diseases. This is the house of health and well-being. We also see healing from this house. We also see job from this house, because this house represents that thing which you do on a day-to-day basis, something that keeps you busy or keeps you occupied. Therefore, it is connected to job. In terms of intelligence, Venus plays a very important role for Taurus ascendants, and during this time Venus is making a transit in your ascendant itself. This is an opportunity that we usually get once a year, where Venus is making a transit in the ascendant. Now during this transit, Venus is forming a beautiful Mahapurusha Yoga, which we call Malavya Yoga, which means when Venus is in its own sign, Mul Trikona, or exalted in a Kendra, it forms this beautiful yoga. It is the yoga of abundance. It is the yoga of manifesting all the Venusian things, which is beauty, luxury, wealth, comforts, and establishing credible relationships, ability to influence others, ability to influence masses. Such people have that capability, or this is a time window for you to develop that capability so that you can attract abundance and you can influence masses. This is your 6th house lord in your Lagna lord, which will give you a lot of intelligence during this time. It is an opportunity for you to learn. One of the remedy that I would advise you is to pick up a course which is very much practical in nature. Try to enhance or build a skill that you can use as far as your work is concerned. So anything that you read, go through, or if you take up a course, should be very much practical in nature. Go for AI, go for something that is advanced technology, or something that you could use to make your work easy, to make your work more efficient so that you can demonstrate to some of your important stakeholders as well. Venus during this transit will be aspecting your 7th house by its 7th aspect of desire, and it desires relationship. It desires you to put a lot more focus on those people who are opposite to you. So your influencing skills are going to increase during this time. This is an opportunity window for you. Another remedy for you would be to make sure that you are presentable each and every day. You might check your wardrobe, you might check your clothes and do away with any of the old or torn clothes, or those clothes that you don't wear. Either you discard them or you donate them. This could be a potential remedy for you during this time. Another donation that you could make could be either of white sugar or white rice. This could be potentially favorable for you if you make this donation to those who need during this time. That is the only remedy which I can suggest for you during this time to avoid any ill effects of the combustion of Venus that is involved in during this transit. Overall, I consider this as a very favorable transit, a positive transit. It will elevate your personality to the next level, and I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Gemini Ascendants and what's happening with Gemini Ascendants as far as Venus's transit in the sign of Taurus is concerned. For Gemini, Venus rules the 5th house and it rules the 12th house, and it is making a transit in the 12th house itself, where it is conjoined Jupiter and Sun during this time. So there will be a 3 planetary conjunction yet we will see in the coming days. Now Venus is an important planet for you because it is the only Yogakaraka planet. It rules your 5th house of future, your overall well-being, your children. Since this is the house of future, we also see kingdom or king-like success, power, authority, and at the same time we see a fall or corruption as well from the 5th house. 5th house and its lord is one of the most important planets. We also see mantra from the 5th house. 5th house or 5th lord is also called mantresha. Therefore, any mantras that you use with regards to Venus, Lakshmi, Durga, Shakti, any form of Durga or any form of Devi will always be beneficial for you. You must chant it each and every day. And this lord making a transit in the 12th house of moksha, spirituality, your ability to give, your ability to donate, where you rest, how you rest, the house of sleep, the house of your higher self consciousness is pretty much indicative that you have to uplift your spiritual quotient for the next 30 to 45 days. Venus will be going through combustion. It is conjoined Jupiter, which is your 10th lord. So in case you're running through a favorable dasha, antardasha, you could expect some sort of change as far as your work is concerned. Whether it will be positive or whether it will be negative depends on your ongoing time period and how that is supporting you during this time. But one thing is for sure, you have to increase your spiritual awareness, spiritual knowledge. And another piece of advice would be to become more self-aware. Be very well aware of your strengths, areas of improvement. What are those areas or strengths that you can build on, that you can continue to focus on in order to remain successful in what you are doing. Any mantras that you use, either you could use the Lakshmi mantra or a Devi mantra, or you could worship the Devi. This could be a potentially favorable remedy for you. Venus will be aspecting your 6th house by its 7th aspect. So it desires a lot of beauty, a lot of abundance in your daily routine. You have to remain happy and content in your daily life. You have to take care of the things. Another remedy for you could be to clean up your house, do it yourself, and take care of the plants which are there in your house if you have any. This could be another potential remedy for you. Venus is one of those planets that generally does well in the 12th house, and as a matter of fact, I consider this transit as mostly positive. But besides the fact that it is going to be combust, you will have to put extra efforts in order to protect your future. You might deviate from your path, so this is where you need to spend more time and put extra efforts in order to protect some of those significations. Take support of your partner, take support of your spouse. Overall, I think it's a good transit for you, but then you need to be wary of the fact that Venus is going to go through combustion and you will have to put in a lot more efforts. I wish you the very best. Now let's talk about Cancer ascendants. For Cancer ascendants, Venus becomes the ruler of the 4th house and the 11th house, and this Venus is making a transit in the 11th house in the sign of Taurus. Venus rules the Sukha Bhava for you, or the house of happiness, which is the 4th house. We also see mother, homeland, those places where you feel most comfortable, those people who you are very close to, or those people who care for you or who share a kind of compassion towards yourself, a concern towards yourself, are seen from the 4th house. So this could be your mother, people from your homeland. And Venus also rules the 11th house, which is the house of Aya. It is the house of gains, income, all the material things in life, your friends, your wider social network, and Venus is making a transit in the 11th house. Apparently there are going to be 3 planets in your 11th house. Now Jupiter is your 9th lord, Venus is your 4th lord, and Sun is your 2nd lord, and these 3 planets are making conjunction in your 11th house. This is naturally forming a Dhan Yoga in transit, and plus the lord of happiness, or your Sukhesha, is in the 11th house. So any sort of wealth creating opportunities, income or gains that you're looking forward to have will bring a sense of happiness and joy, because that is very much supportive. So any Dhan Yoga that is supported by the 4th lord, it is the time period when it could get fructify, because the energies are pretty much active during this time. So make sure that you make the most of it. So if you're looking forward to having any sort of increment or a rise in your income, this could be a potentially favorable time. You might also see yourself spending in luxuries. One of the things that you have to be mindful of during this time is avoid any kind of indulgence. Avoid and stay away from it. Take control, take charge, because Venus is going to be combust, Jupiter is going to be combust. Your decision making is going to be put at test, which is your wisdom, your love and affection towards others, your relationship building capabilities, that is going to be put at test. So you have to be cautious of this fact that in order to improve or protect these significations, you will have to put a lot more efforts into it. Be careful of what you say about your speech and how you talk to others. Keep your ego aside and practice humility during this time, because you are going to command certain authority over others. Venus is going to aspect your 5th house by its 7th aspect, which means Venus desires love, abundance and affection, and a sense of interaction in your future, in creative pursuits. It wants you to be more creative, think out of the box, and have a learning agility towards anything that you do in life. See, any planet that makes a transit in the 11th house is generally considered good, and this time you have some very good influence of your 2nd lord Sun and your 5th lord Jupiter. So overall, I see this transit as again a positive transit, and I wish you the very best. Thank you very much. Let's now talk about Leo ascendants. For Leo ascendants, Venus rules your 3rd house and your 10th house. The 3rd house, which is also called Dushchikya Bhava, this is the house of valor or courage. We see effort from the 3rd house. Since it is second from the 2nd house is the house of speech, we see communication, how we use that speech, how we consume that speech from the 3rd house. We also see younger siblings from the 3rd house. This is the house of change. It is the house of growth. Venus also rules your 10th house, which is your Karma Bhava. It is an important planet for Leo ascendants because it rules work, profession, the kind of job that you do, your actions in the society. So Venus is more of a neutral planet for you. This Venus is making a transit in your 10th house itself. Venus is also one of the significators of the 10th house. Anything to do with your interaction at workplace or in the kind of job that you do, or your relationship building abilities or skills, your interpersonal skills at the workplace is governed by Venus. So therefore, for that matter, it becomes one of the significators of the 10th house. Now this is a powerful position of Venus because Venus is making a transit in the sign of Taurus. It is creating a Malavya Yoga for you. Now on contrary, Venus does lose direction in this house because it gains direction in the 4th house. This is where it is losing direction, and Venus is also going through combustion. Jupiter is also going through combustion during this time, and Jupiter is another important planet for you. because it is your fifth lord. The 10th house is pretty much active because your Lagna lord is going to be in the 10th house, Jupiter is going to be in the 10th house, and Venus is going to be in the 10th house. So work pursuits are going to be pretty exciting over the next 30 to 40 days, and you're likely to get more opportunities. So if you're looking forward to applying for a new job or any sort of change in your workplace, this could be a potentially favorable time to manifest and get into the kind of role or position that you've been dreaming for, or you've been eyeing for, or looking forward to. So this is how you could maximize during this time. Venus by its 7th aspect is aspecting your 4th house. So what does Venus desire? It desires a kind of comfort. It desires you to do things that make you feel happy, that make you feel content. Most importantly, you need to pick up your hobbies, those things that you like to do. You have to also spend more time with your mother to try and improve relationship that you have with your mother and take their guidance or support. This is the kind of message which Venus is giving you during this time. You must remember that this kind of opportunity will not come in the next few years, where Venus, Sun and Jupiter are coming together in a transit in your 10th house, and you have to maximize these energies, the power of interaction, which is Venus, the power of wisdom and knowledge, which is Jupiter, and the power of authority and leadership, which is Sun during this time. So make sure that any remedy that you're doing, if it's a mantra, it is related to Jupiter. Offer water to Sun, rise early, do sun salutations. This could be a potential remedy for you. Surya Namaskar, ultimate remedy during this time. Do as much as you can in the morning after sunrise, and I wish you the very best and hope you have a pleasant transit. Let's now talk about Virgo ascendants. For Virgo ascendants, Venus is a very important planet because it's your 2nd lord and it's your 9th lord. It is the lord of wealth, or your Dhan Bhava, which is the 2nd house. 2nd house is the house of storage. We like to store things here. We like to consume things here. We like to share those things with our loved ones, with our families. Therefore, we see family from the 2nd house. This is the house of your speech. 9th lord, the lord of dharma, fortune or bhagya, father or father figure, your guru, mentor, higher learning, higher wisdom, long distance journeys that are spiritual in nature are seen from the 9th house. Venus plays a very important role in wealth related matters for Virgo ascendants, and this Venus is making a transit in your 9th house itself. Your Bhagyesha is making a transit in the Bhagya Bhava, and Venus is going to be conjoined both of the significators of the 9th house, which is Jupiter as well as Sun, though Venus will be combust during this time. But if you practice remedies related to Venus, if you channelizing it using mantras related to Venus, if you offer Jala to Surya early in the morning, you could channelize these energies in your favor during this time. Bhagya will be pretty much supportive during this time. It is the time for higher learning. Any spiritual pilgrimage that you make over the next 30 to 45 days could bring a sense of abundance. Go to a place, visit temples, visit any spiritual place that you believe in or that you have a connection with. So that is something which I highly advocate during this time. You do not need any other remedy. You will certainly have some sort of stressful situation, but if you visit a spiritual pilgrimage, if you take up a pilgrimage or a journey which is for spiritual pursuits, it will bring a sense of joy and it will elevate your bhagya. It will support that. Venus by its 7th aspect is aspecting your 3rd house, which is the house of efforts. Venus demands abundance, a sense of love and harmony in your growth, in the kind of efforts that you're taking or making, in your valor. We also see creative performing arts from the 3rd house. So in case you have certain interests in these areas, this could be a potentially favorable transit for you. Venus also demands that you take Guru Upadesha, or you take some sort of message from your mentor, your idol, your guru or your teacher, and this could be something which is related to building relationships with others and how you can improve that space, how you can become better as far as your interpersonal skills or relationships are concerned with other people. Overall, I do consider this as a positive transit, as a fortunate transit. one of its kind transit that you have to make the most of, though you will have to again put in a lot more efforts to hold on to these significations, because Venus will be going through combustion. So you must understand there is curse of the government, there is curse of the king that is there during this time, and you need Sun's blessing to support you, and at the same time you need mantras related to Venus or related to Devi, Shakti, Durga, or any female deity that you believe in. And I wish you the very best. Have a blessed transit. Let's now talk about Libra ascendants. For Libra ascendants, Venus is an important planet because it's your Lagna Lord. It is the Lord of Ascendant, yourself, your body, vitality, immunity, your intelligence, because this is where the power of Thi is, which is connected to your brain. This is where your brain sits. Venus also rules the 8th house. It's a dual lordship. 8th house is where the sign of Taurus is, which is all about Ayush or longevity. This is also the house of transformation, sudden changes in life, ups and downs, unpleasant changes, pleasant changes, those places who are far off, people from different culture, different background, or those people who speak different languages, unknown territories are seen from the 8th house. Venus is making a transit in the 8th house itself in the sign of Taurus. Now, Venus or Shukra is the only planet that has attained the knowledge of Mrit Sanjeevani from Lord Shiva. Therefore, from that perspective, since Venus has awareness of the matters of this house, it does fairly well in this house compared to all the other planets. The other reason is that Venus is a natural benefic planet, so it will have some sort of benefic influence as far as this house matters are concerned. So a remedy which is quite simple for you would be to take up a course which is very much hidden in nature, or that involves a lot of research, or something that many people are not aware of, or something that people don't believe in. So would be Jyotish, astrology, occult sciences. That is also seen from the 8th house, because this house is connected to making predictions or talking about past as well as future. So any research that is linked to past and that is linked to future, where planning is involved, could be highly beneficial for you, and this is something that you could take it up at your workplace as well. This is quite a transformational transit, because your first lord is making a transit in the 8th house. This will have some sort of pain, it will have some sort of discomfort as well, because Venus is creating a Viparita Yoga in transit, being the 8th lord in the 8th house. As far as the transit is concerned, situation could be opposite for you, situation could be challenging for you, but eventually you will rise from this situation. That is how it is going to play a role for you. Now, another important point of advice for you would be, because 7th aspect of Venus is going to be on the 2nd house of income, wealth. It is your family, those people who you would like to protect. So if you are looking forward to creating a secondary source of income in the near future, this could be a potentially favorable time for you, and for that matter, you must start thinking about how you could create a secondary source of income for yourself in the near future. Overall, I do see this as a mixed transit, but from a transformational perspective, this is quite a strong or a positive transit in case you're looking forward to dealing with some sort of inheritance or certain things that are going on. This could be a potentially favorable time. There are 3 planetary energies in your 8th house. Transformation is inevitable. You need to embrace this change. You need to go through and be prepared of sudden changes in your life, whether it will be good or bad. This depends on your ongoing dasha and the dasha. You might achieve a favorable position as well. One thing is quite certain, that other people might come to you for advice. They may come to you and share their deep secrets as well. So be ready to help them, be ready and be prepared to guide them as a trusted advisor, and I wish you the very best. Thank you very much. Let's now talk about Scorpio ascendants. For Scorpio ascendants, Venus rules the 7th house and it rules the 12th house. So it plays a very important role as far as relationship matters are concerned, or your ability to give others and that kind of support or compassion towards others. It rules partnership, relationship, those people who are opposite to you. From 7th house, we also see peace and we see war at the same time. It is the Jaya Bhava. Those people who are there in your life, who are opposite to you, those people who you work with or who you come in contact with. It also rules your 12th house, which is the house of losses, your expenditure, your higher self-consciousness, the ability to give and help others, We also see sleep and any kind of bed comforts from the 12th house. It plays a very important role as far as our overall self-awareness is concerned. And this Venus is going to be making a transit in your 7th house. Now, Venus in the 7th house is considered to be the significator that is making a transit in the 7th house itself. There's a 3 planetary conjunction as far as 7th house is concerned for you. So you can expect some sort of decisions or changes or conflict as far as relationship matters are concerned. So this will be one of the areas that you will have to focus consistently and consciously over the next few days. But Venus being the significator is gaining strength because this is where Jupiter and Sun, they're losing out. So it is a potentially favorable time or an opportunity window for you to mend ties as far as your relationship is concerned with other people. There is heavy influence on your ascendant as well because Venus will be aspecting your ascendant sign. The other 2 grahas will also be aspecting your ascendant. Rahu will also be aspecting your ascendant. So you have to go through change, you have to go through transformation during this time. What does Venus's 7th aspect of desire means for you? That you have to present yourself in a manner to others that you come across as a polished individual. You come across as someone who has influence, who has elegance in his or her communication. So you have to be well presentable. So make sure that you plan your meetings in a way that you're able to make a good presentation. Remember, it doesn't matter what you say, but it matters how you say it, and how you deliver your message will be very instrumental in order to build very credible relationship, and those kind of relationship where you can get some favors. So this is the power of Venus's aspect on your 1st house. So definitely change is coming. One thing that you have to make sure is have a super active day, exercise, workout, go out there, connect with the nature. That is the ultimate remedy for you, because you would need to practice mindfulness, meditation, anything that brings peace, that brings calmness in your mind. This will be must have during this time, because you will go through continuous pressure and stress. Jupiter is going to be combust during this time. Venus is going to be combust during this time. In your 7th house, there is Sun also making a transit and making a drishti on your 1st house. That is also going to happen during this time. So you need a lot of mindfulness, you need a lot of stress relieving techniques during this time. Overall, I do not consider this as a bad transit for you. You have an opportunity, build relationship, mend your ties, resolve any conflicts that you have. This is the opportunity window that you've got during this time, and I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Sagittarius Ascendants. For Sagittarius Ascendants, Venus becomes the ruler of the 6th house and the ruler of the 11th house. Venus is considered to be a potent malefic for Sagittarius Ascendants because it rules your 6th house, which is the house of Shadripus, which is the house of diseases. It is the house of deaths as well. We see daily routines or things we do on a day-to-day basis. Therefore, job is also some way linked to the 6th house. 6th house plays a very important role in our growth, because firstly, in order to gain intelligence, we see that from this house, then how that intelligence plays a role in our growth, because this is also an Upachaya Bhava. 3rd, 6th, 10th and 11 are Upachaya Bhavas, so they are the houses of growth. This Venus is making a transit in the 6th house itself. Venus also rules 11th house for you. 11th house is also the house of enemies, because it is 6th from the 6th house, but this is also the house of gains. This is also the house of Aya or income, your material comforts, your ability to influence others, the friends that you have. We also see elder siblings from the 11th house. Now this Lord is making a transit in the 6th house. 6th house is not a very comfortable position for Venus, because Venus goes Maran Karak. It is a death-like position for Venus, where it is losing its significance. And this situation is more of a double whammy for you, because one, Venus is losing its signification. Venus is also going to be combust. So the good news is that any ill effects that you might be expecting related to Venus will reduce. But then on the negative side, you will have to put in a lot more efforts as far as gains are concerned. You would struggle to see things for the future. You have to take care of your gut during this time. Be very careful of what you eat, what you consume, because you could have some digestive issues during this time. So you have to be very much mindful of the fact and take care of these things and these matters. Take it in your control, take it in your hand, and the ultimate remedy for you is what you eat, what you consume. You will have to spend extra efforts. Be very conscious in terms of your relationships, particularly if you're married. Try to protect your relationship during this time. Try to improve your relationship, because you're likely to have some sort of problems, some sort of conflicts, which I believe should be temporary. It should not be a prolonged conflict. But then you will have to make some adjustments, you will have to make some changes in your own self. Venus during this time will be aspecting your 12th house of losses or expenditure, or your ability to give. If you make donations related to either Venus or Jupiter or even Sun, this could be a potentially favorable time for you. I would encourage you to make donations related to Venus. You can offer rice, or you can offer sugar, any white thing that you could donate to the needy. This will be beneficial for you, because Venus is a potent malefic for you. So for malefic planet remedies, which is functional malefic in nature, we must donate or give away things related to that planet instead of consuming it. Okay, that is how remedies work. So overall, I would say it is a mixed transit. You will have to put in a lot more efforts to deal with things on a day-to-day basis, and I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Capricorn Ascendants and what's happening with Venus transit for Capricorn Ascendants. Venus is a Yoga Karaka planet for you, or one of the most favorable planets, because it is the ruler of your 5th house and your 10th house. 5th house of mantras, of your future. It is your mantresha. This is the house of progress or success. We see positional success from the 5th house, because this is where authority sits. This is where we also see corruption from. So it's, two sides of the coin as far as this house is concerned, but this lord plays a very important role. Venus also rules 10th house, or it's the 10th lord for you, which is the house of karma. So Venus becomes your karmesha. It rules an important trinal house, it rules an important kendra house for you. Therefore it plays a very important role. So it rules your job, the kind of work that you do, things that you do on a day-to-day basis, your overall actions in the society. These two houses have one common factor, because we see progress, success and authority from these houses. So its lordship plays an important role. So this Venus is making a transit in your 5th house itself, which is forming a nice yoga in transit. Now you must understand that there are complex energies that are going through your 5th house. So your future would look more or less uncertain. You might not be clear about things. You might be confused about things. Most importantly, Venus is also going through combustion during this time, which means it is in close contact with Sun. Jupiter is also going through combustion during this phase. So next 30 to 60 days, it will not be advisable to take some important decisions as far as your career or work is concerned, or those things related to your future is concerned, because you will not be very clear. So this could eventually be a stressful time. This could initially be a stressful time, but you need to cope up with it, because this is still an opportunity window for you to protect some significations, because during this time Venus still holds strength. It is a positive transit for you from a placement perspective and the kind of yogas it is involved in during this time. Most importantly, there are multiple planets that are aspecting your 11th house. So gains are inevitable, regardless of the fact that you will be in a situation that you're losing out on hopes. But stay resilient, maintain patience. This is going to pass. Gains are inevitable. What you need to do is you need to sit down with yourself, do a lot of planning for your future. Think about what you would like to learn in the near future. How are you going to apply your skills at your workplace to become a better professional, to create more opportunities for yourself. In case you're looking forward to getting a promotion, a rise in your income, this could be a potentially favorable time. In case you're looking forward to new opportunities as well, this could be a time wherein you might need to manifest, but you would need to be creative in your approach. So if you have your resume, be creative there. Use creativity in your communication, in your interaction with others. Any mantras that you use related to Venus, that is the ultimate remedy for you. Use a mantra related to Lakshmi, Devi, Shakti, Durga, any female deity that you feel connected with. You must use mantra related to it during this time. It will be highly beneficial for you. Overall, I do feel it is a good transit for you. It is one of those opportunities that is coming after a long time, and I hope you make the most of it. You will have to undergo and cope up with stress, but this will eventually get better for you. I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Aquarius Ascendants. For Aquarius Ascendants, Venus is again a Yoga Karaka planet because it rules your 4th house and it rules your 9th house. The Lord of Happiness, Sukhesha, or those places where you feel most comfortable, your homeland, your mother, those things or people who you feel connected with. This is the house of compassion and care. This is also the house of public, how you deal with others, how you deal with the wider public. And this is also the ruler of 9th house or your 9th lord, which is your Bhagyesha, the ruler of fortune. Long journeys which are spiritual in nature, your higher education or higher learning would be the correct term to use in that matter. I mean, we also see guru, mentor, or those people who give you a sound and a nice advice from this house. We see father from this house, lineage. This is the house of dharma. Therefore, Venus becomes an important planet. It is making a transit in the 4th house itself, in its own sign of Taurus. So situation is quite pleasant because Venus firstly it is making a Malavya yoga in your 4th house, being in the sign of Taurus. Secondly, 4th house Venus gains directional strength. It is Digbali during this time. There are blessings of the Devata, so it is the time to manifest all qualities related to Venus. It is a time to manifest abundance, luxuries into your comfort space, into your home. It is the time to declutter, clean up your home each and every day. There is Sun, there is Jupiter and Venus, 3 planetary conjunction in your 4th house. One remedy: declutter your house, declutter your home, organize your things, make sure everything is clean and tidy. And if you don't need certain things, give it away, either discard or donate. Donate your old clothes, donate in temples during this time, donate in places of worship. This will be highly beneficial for you during this time. Venus is going to be aspecting your 10th house by its 7th aspect. It desires you to put your focus on your work, the ability to interact with other people who you work with and try to improve those significations. Now, there are energies of other planets as well that are aspecting your 10th house during this time. So that is pretty much active from a desire point of view. The desire is to work or bring some changes in your work or the kind of job that you're doing, which could be very different in nature as well. So this is an opportunity window for you. If you have been going through certain amount of stress, this is a favorable window that has come your way. Now, on contrary, you must realize that Venus is going to be combust most of the time during this transit. You will have to put in a lot more efforts. So if you were to sort out your work, you will have to put in a lot more efforts. If you were to organize your home, you will have to put in a lot more efforts, maybe 4 or 5 times more efforts than it is required. So do not shy away from it. Overall, I feel it is a positive transit for you and I wish you the very best. Let us now talk about Pisces Ascendants. For Pisces Ascendants, Venus is again a potent malefic because it rules your 3rd house and it rules your 8th house. The Dushchikya Bhava, or the house of valor, your courage, efforts and change. We see all of that from the 3rd house. 3rd lord generally is not considered the most ideal planet for most ascendants. Venus also has a rulership of the 8th house, which is the house of uncertainty. It is also the house of Ayush or longevity. Sudden ups and downs, those changes which are very sudden in nature, which you are not aware of. It comes as a surprise, whether it is good or bad. It really depends on the ongoing time period. Now, this Venus is making a transit in your 3rd house itself. Venus's placement in the 3rd house is not the most ideal placement as far as from a transit perspective it is concerned, and also from a placement perspective, because Venus is a planet that has a high amount of desires. It is linked to abundance, it is linked to luxuries, it is also linked to spending, and 3rd house is the Kama Bhava. It has high amount of desires, it has high amount of lust quotient. So this is something which we must be very careful during this time, is to take control of your desires, your lust quotient, and try to channelize these energies in the right direction. You will improve your communication. You will have a sense of understanding that you have to put in 6 times, 7 times more efforts, and you will appreciate that. You will have to do it during this time. There is a Maran Karaka Jupiter which is making a transit in your 3rd house, which is going to be combust for some time. There's going to be Venus, which is also going to be combust during this time. You must look up to Sun for any remedies, for any support during this time. Venus by its 7th aspect is aspecting your 9th house. So one thing that is quite certain during this time is the desire is to elevate your bhagya, elevate your fortune. You have to protect your dharma. You have to stay on the path of righteousness and look up to higher learning. Those things you need to learn which can help you for your future as far as workplace endeavors are concerned, as far as your business is concerned, anything that you do in order to survive in this world is concerned. Be ready to put in a lot more efforts over the next 30 to 40 days. Be ready to protect your relationship. Be also ready to elevate your fortune, elevate your bhagya. You really need mentorship during this time. So take some advice of someone who you trust or who you look up to. It could be a mentor, teacher, guide, or even a friend. This advice will not hurt you. This advice is to protect you and give you some sort of guidance in case you're not very sure of making certain decisions. Anything that you do with your hands during this time is a potential remedy for you. Use your hands, write a journal or a blog of any kind. This is particularly favorable. Make pen or a pencil your friend and try to write as much as you can. Whenever you can, go old school, make notes. That is the potential remedy for you, or anything else that you can do at your home or at your workplace where your hands are involved. This is the ultimate remedy for you. Overall, I see this as a mixed transit and I wish you the very best. So this was about Venus's transit in the sign of Taurus. The planet of abundance, love, harmony, luxuries is making a transit in its own sign of Taurus, and I hope and believe this transit brings enormous wealth, abundance, and a sense of compassion with our near and dear ones, a sense of belongingness, and may we be more close to our family and our loved ones. Stay tuned to more videos on my channel, and if you like it, please share it with your friends. Thank you very much. God bless you all.